Say so right now until the truth comes out. I gave you everything, and I gave you everything. Say so right now, left alone, cried out. I gave you everything, and I gave you everything.
Ploughing through the matches with strength, placings decided at length. 8 teams stand before us, there can only be 4, money galore. It's not time to debate, it's time to levitate.
You cannot get my vibe, no, there's no way. I'm flying high above all your gravity, trying to bring me down, but I never stay. Hey, hey, watch me levitate. You cannot get my vibe, no, there's no way. You can say what you want, call me insane, trying to bring me down, but I never stay. Hey, hey, watch me levitate. Watch me levitate. Hey, hey, watch me levitate.
Absolutely. Good evening, APAC server. We're back on the professionals tournament. Apologies, there was a little bit of a late start. I was pretty much getting ready beforehand, but now I'm here. So today we are going to be seeing professional tournament rounds 8 to 9. There will be a lot to watch, to be honest with you. Again, this is a double round robin format, but we are now currently on. We currently have the first stage concluded, and we're going to be starting the second stage, where teams will be fighting each other the second time. The top 4 will advance to the next round, and if there are teams tied with the number of round wins that are lingering around the 4th place, then we will have to apply the tiebreaker. First, we will consider the head-to-head round wins. So if the clan wins one another twice, then that clan will qualify. And if not, then the clan, if both teams won, for example 1-1, then we will have a look at the head-to-head match wins, and we will decide from that. So the number of victories scored by the clan will be determined. If that cannot be decided, we will take a look at the total number of match wins, which will consider all 40 games held during the professionals tournament. If that also cannot be decided, we will then take a look at the battle duration, and if that cannot be decided, there will be a playoff. This is the table so far. With the first stage concluded, we have a tie between 3 teams on the leaderboard. We have RM, RISQ and GV performing really well yesterday. And actually looking at the top 6, there are only 6 match wins separating them. So this level of closeness will continue, and I'm pretty sure that we will see a big top 4 fight, and the top 6 clans have a good chance of getting a top 4 spot. So it's not over yet for even Team ID. And then you have Riri, which has an outside chance of getting into the top 4. They have beaten GRS in the first stage, and Nomad also. But Nomad, they are struggling a lot at the moment. Will they be able to make changes just in time and get an unlikely comeback to the top 4? It will be really difficult, and they have to sort out a lot of stuff. But they are here for experience. They are here to improve themselves. So I trust them. I believe in them. I hope they will come back stronger next season. And with the experience they will get, it's going to be invaluable. This is the timeline for the autumn season. We have the professionals tournament held from the 14th to the 21st of November. The top 4 will qualify to the Blitz Ultimate Cup, which is going to be held from the 29th to the 30th of November. This is the November schedule. So we're currently halfway through the assiduous, the laborious, top 8, the top 8 challenges and also the low echelon stage. And that will end soon on Monday, and after that we'll have a good break, and I probably have to be busy again trying to promote the APAC server for the Blitz Ultimate Cup, because we really want to be one of the most watched servers. We will see. This is the bracket. I'll be following GV versus RN, and Xiang Kun will not be following the same games as I do. He will be following RISQ versus ID, and this is the power rating so far. Top 8 currently. We have Nomad, which is not in the top 8 at the moment. Brown has entered the top 8. There's a chance for Brown to overtake Riri. It's going to be really hard actually, because Brown don't have a lot more of games to play. They only have 2 more games to play, while Riri has 7 more rounds to play. So potentially Riri could drop enough to have Brown overtake Riri, and potentially Nomad will have to win Riri by a big scoreline in order to do so. But if Brown also loses with some of the teams here like SZ and DT, then they could drop down the leaderboard. However, currently the power rating is predicting RISQ, P1, ID and RN to be in the top 4. But GV is not far away from getting a top 4, but GRS will have a harder time getting into top 4 according to the power rating, but it's not totally out of the blue. These are the maps for the autumn season without Ghost Factory and Hellas, 22 maps altogether. We'll just breeze through this slide, and this is Mapbox prediction. We have RN predicted to win GB 4-3, but as we know, GB played really well against ID yesterday. So my thoughts are that GB could win. GB could win. I think there's a good chance they could do so if they continue to perform like they did yesterday. As for Nomad and Riri, sadly, Madbox will predict them to lose by a big margin. And finally, RISQ is predicted to win ID 4-3, but then they are currently on a poor run of form. It wasn't as big of a scoreline prediction as before, but still, RISQ is predicted to overcome the hurdles. Now, as for the Challengers Tournament, we have Brown versus SZ starting first, and Brown is predicted to win SZ 4-1. And at this stage, if Brown is predicted to win that big of a scoreline, you can see that Brown is going to be installed as huge favorites. But then we saw back on the EU server, Vale, seen as one of the big favorites in winning the Challengers Tournament, finished 4th. So Brown, they do not want to let go of their amazing performances so far and do really well in the end. As for RISQ, also looking more likely to be a runaway winner and not as close of a scoreline this time, but still predicted to win 4-2 against PYT. And this is it for me. And we only have around 30 more seconds to go. Let's bring on the traders. And I will begin with GV. And RN. Okay, now we'll go in. GV versus RN. Starting on my ruins, as we can see, Papi will be going to C to cap it out, and he could potentially spot everyone of GV, because if GV is going to send everyone there, and RN needs to be totally prepared here, because GV will not let Papi run away like that. Papi got C. It's going to be important. Oh, gets double tapped, but I'm very, very scared here. The P-word bounces, but Tokyo puts a shell in, and the double Type 71s are from behind with 215 of Iron Bread Tank also holding the line, but RN is in deep trouble. They're now going to make a big push onto ADPR ST, but they need more tanks looking to support these 3 tanks here. They are in trouble. RN needs to get a focus fire in, but Lancelot puts a round shell. They are trying to focus Rome, but Iron Bread Tank is the first tank down. Wadu is still quite outside here, and Tokyo is now the focus. Great kill onto Tokyo, with ADPRST going to be killed by the world. So RN, Lancelot has dropped the reactive armor, great shot onto Rome, and Trash is looking to get Rome, but it's going to take them some time to get to that. Ploy Kickshaw is now looking to kill Rome. It's going to be the case. The focus fire so far so good for RN. As for GV, also decent focus fire. That push really caught RN off guard. But they really need to start killing off tanks near C, because RN, they have the numerical advantage. With Professor killing off Lancelot, we are going to be seeing now GV focusing on Ploy Kickshaw. Vishuan needs to be saved. GV is looking better and better, but then RN, the rest of the team has now come in. Papi will need to start coming in. He is a one-shot though, but Ploy Kickshaw has been taken out, and RN's focus fire starts to tail off. What a big start for GV. But then get in the van is now really low. Papi can potentially kill, get in the van, but it's going to be the world killing off. Get in the van. Now Wadu is the focus for GB, and they are really looking for Wadu. The P word has dropped the reactive armor at the right moment. This is going to be crucial. He is going to absorb a lot of hit points here, as you can see, with Wadu putting a good shell onto the backside of the P word. Pappy is still alive, and that could be very important in the late game stages. He's going to run around, try to cause all sorts of problems for GV. GV, they need the world out of the way, and Pappy diligently holding at the back. Now, Professor cannot win this 1v1 fight against the world unless the P word comes in. The hit points are still in favor of RN at the moment here. The P word needs some shots in. The Professor's now a one shot. And we can see the P word ramming into the world. But the P word is now one shot, and Professor is now killed. The P word needs to do a really good job now, but it won't be the case. Pappy gets the P word out. This could go either way, to be honest. GB and RN has brilliant focus fire. RN holding it up very well, despite being at a numerical disadvantage, but enough time for the rest of RN team to relocate. It is all down to the shot efficiency in the end. The focus fire is just on point for both teams. And I mean, this is just really high level stuff. Really good gameplay. GV catching RN off guard. ADPRST, although not being able to win the fight there in the middle, almost bought enough time for GB to kill all the tanks, but it wasn't enough in the end. What a game. What a game to start today. And hello to everyone watching so far. Hello to Fabon, Stoner, and Silla Willy. But you're seeing a really quick fight between RN versus GB. RN will get the first win. But GB, this is not a bad match for them. They were just a little bit unlucky with maybe perhaps some of the bounces that were there. Both teams, their focus fire was there, but also at the same time, both teams need to share the hit points a little bit better. But it's very hard in this situation because there's not a lot of cover to hide. And Pappy did a really good job in sniping from the back because he's a one-shot. He doesn't want to get too close to the enemy team. And it's good. It's a job well done to GV. No, also RN. Both teams did a really good job. Oh, right. So let's see what we're going to be watching next match. I am told that I'll be following BPS tonight, so I'm excited about this. BPS, Spit Rennery team. So hopefully, I am very chuffed in seeing how they play because I am a huge fan of the playstyle in the summer season. But so far, they are not as dominant in the professionals tournament as I thought, but it could very well change tonight. We're now going back to the second match on My Ruins, RN versus GV. Both teams start the night brilliantly. We could see GV this time going mostly to the middle spawn, and RN committing their forces over to A. This could descend into pandemonium very quickly, as we see the P word. Oh, he can't go to B quickly here. Look at the Pappy here in that T100 LT, getting a lot of spots up for RN. The information is there. The P word has taken some hits, but also the word. Boy Kickshot dropping into B immediately, but GV will have shots to reset B, so it's probably not the wisest idea here. Professor will get into A, but get in the van, also get shots at. RN will get B uncontested probably. And Boy Kickshot isn't able. Oh, there's a reset shot from ADPRST. That is crucial, but we see at the same time Wada and also Lancelot, the T57 heavy, could bounce. They could push onto Rome, but Bishuan is there to frustrate Lancelot. But Rome is now down to one-shot. Hit points are now in huge favor for RN. RN really feeling this one here. But look at GV, they're putting the high hit point pools targets first. Lancelot now quite low. And it will be Tokyo getting the kill. And the next focus will be on Wadu. They want to get Wadu off the way, but Bijua is being taken out by RN. RN looking very strong right now. They're going to get in the van out of the way. Unless GB is able to have a miracle here. The P-word is so far away from the rest of the team. So GB has to rely on RN's focus fire tailing off right now. But RN isn't exactly doing that. Wadu is dead. That is an important kill because Wadu has just reloaded. This is still go either way, but RN have more tanks near A. So it's going to be really hard for GB. GB is trying their best to subserve the hit point push air. But ADPRSD is down. Tokyo is now down. Professor is trying to put shots onto Papi. And P-word finally comes in, but it's too late here. Not sure why he's the one trying to go for C. It was a misplay in my opinion. And GB, Professor is being trapped here. Rams into Papi, trying to run away, but I don't think it will be successful. Papi will be looking shot and kill Professor, leaving the P-word and Rome the last people standing. Well done to RN. This is a more dominant victory for RN. It wasn't that much of a scrappy win for them, and RN now will lead 2-0, and GB will have to do really well now. Berlin's pep talk needs to come in full force now. This is the time to make a comeback. Will Berlin do a good pep talk? We're going to find out now. Well done, good job to RN. Once again, great focus fire, capitalizing on GB's somewhat lack of organization. I mean, GB is definitely not bad at all, but they somehow ignore the numbers they have at hand, and they kind of push into a numerical disadvantage, which is not the best idea. Especially, I'm not sure what the P-word is trying to do near C. There, I would have to rewind and see what he was trying to achieve. But he is very much out of the fight for the majority of the game, and it was really not nice. And now we will be seeing changes here. RN leading 2-0. We're going on to Alpenstadt. Okay, so GB has changed their tanks here. It's still really close, but I mean RN is now picking up the momentum, and GB, now's the time to motivate the team, and I know the P-word can do that absolutely nicely. I know, maybe he doesn't say anything. Maybe the silence is the thing here. But anyway, we have the P-word in the T125, ADPRST, M60, Kranwagen by Get in the Van, Bisuan in the Type 71 alongside Tokyo, Professor T100LT, Rome 62P. On the other hand, we have RN going for triple Type 71, I am Red 215P, Wado T95 E6, The World, The Mouse, and finally Sheridan will be played by Papi. And we will go in very soon. Alpenstadt. Who will come on top? There we go. Let's end the poll now, and hope more people will join in watching this amazing fight. And there we go. Yeah, this is a top 4 versus top 4 gameplay. A no watcher is right about this now. Professor in the T100LT will be spotting tanks looking at C, but RN's going to send pretty much everyone there, so Professor has to be really careful. Oh, he's going to turn away. Good idea there. He isn't spotted though, but he knocks down the brick wall. But RN isn't able to see that, probably because they don't have tanks that are looking at that area in particular. We are now going to be seeing GB putting tanks onto A, with Tokyo being spotted here. And A will be captured then. RN again, the north spawn advantage with the caps. This is a good example of that. RN will get C, and GB we'll have to figure out a way to rotate. We are seeing the P word. Spotted. The world spotted. The mouse needs to be careful here. The side armor could be shown to the P word. But it's a bounce, sadly. The professor is going to come in, put a good shot to the world. The world needs to stay safe. Takes a hit, but Tokyo also takes a hit. So the hit points are neck and neck. There are still loads to play for, and we are seeing Rome holding nearby nicely. And we are also seeing Trash and Poppy overlooking the spawn of GB, and RN rotating back to their spawn. Are they lining up for a push? They don't have to do the push, but if they think that GB is isolated and spread out, it's a good opportunity for them to do so. But it's gamble. But if they make this gamble is going to work. Meanwhile, on the other hand, GB is rotating back to their spawn, getting advanced, trying to advance towards C, but their push is not quite organized at the moment. And we're seeing a push coming in from our end. Great call here. The P-word is in deep trouble, and the P-word will be ushering the rest of the team to start pushing on to C. It's all about shot efficiency. Can the P-word survive for long enough? The P-word is now running away. He's trying to buy as much time as possible for GB. The professor is also trying to run away. At the same time, we are seeing now GB has approached to a Trash. They need to take out Trash as soon as they could. But if Trash is able to get the van out of the way, that is going to be a really good news for them. But GB, they're struggling. The P-word is struggling to stay alive. And A will be captured by RN. And GB will be under a bigger cap disadvantage. Tokyo is now trying to capture C. And GB is struggling a little bit on the C side. Now B is also attempted by RN. And the P word is now very, very low here. He's going to be taken out by Ploy Kick. Sure, maybe he will get 0 damage, sadly. C is going to be captured by GB, but they took some time to take out Trash. Trash has been instrumental in this fight. And we're seeing Professor coming in to support the P word. And Ploy Kick Shot bounces onto the P word. I'm not sure what Professor's trying to do here. A miss onto Lancelot. And we are now seeing GB coming in. They're looking to get Wado off the way. There are lots of isolated tanks of both GB and RN. Professor's in deep trouble, getting shut down by both Harpy and also Lancelot. It's a good shot onto Lancelot, but Professor needs to get a shell in. It won't be the case. Professor gets taken out. P-word also gets taken out. ADPRST is trying to get Lancelot out of the way. Now ADPRST is on the drum reload. It's going to be really close in the end, but RN still has 2 caps, and they have a good hit point pool advantage. Rome is trying to brawl against Iron Bread Tank with GB. No light tanks. They aren't going to get the cap points back. Lancelot is dead. There is an outside chance for GB to win. They just need to get the tanks out. Iron Bread Tank is now down to a 1-shot here. But ADPRST, can he survive for long enough? The 5 tanks of GB are all 1-shots pretty much. Get in the van instead. Iron Bread Tank instead. ADPRST has fully reloaded now. He needs to put a shot here. But no, it's not going to happen. Tokyo needs to get a shell in, but it's too late. It was really, really close. It was down to the wire. The scoreline you're seeing isn't telling the full story here. GB did absolutely everything they could, but I would have to say, Professor, just leave the P-word there. He is pretty much there to buy time. I thought he wasn't able to do damage. He did some damage, but for Professor, he should link up with the rest of the push, and try to get a low hit point pool targets there, because he is so important in the Team 100 LT. He is pretty much the one that could get a decap on the other side. And with that tank being taken out, and with Poppy still surviving, RN is still able to pressure GB with the cap points. And GB, they tried hard, but it was pretty much Professor. I'm not sure if he was told to support the P-word, but if I were Professor, just ignore that. I am so sorry, Berlin. I'm not saying you should be you don't deserve support, but in that situation, you aren't going to win. You aren't going to win anyway, even if you have Professor helping you. So, better idea to preserve that T100 LT, and the T100 LT is so important for GB. And we are now going back here. Now you're saying GB is going to win. 52% of you, so it's quite a tie so far. But RN, now we're going to be seeing triple Type 71, a T95 E6, a U100, a mouse, and a T100 LT. GB on the other hand, a T110 an M60, triple Type 71, a T100 LT, and a 60 TP will go back in on our push stats. And there we are. GB, where will they go this time? And RM, where will they go? Can GB now bring the comeback? The biggest comeback of the century. They need to win 4 in a row. Berlin doesn't have pressure, obviously. His pep talk always works, so we will see if this is going to be the case. RN, we are going to be seeing a boost coming in. Oh, yes. This is what we want to see. Boost! Poppy up there! This is the first time I'm seeing a boost happening over to this plateau. Now look at Poppy here. He's going to get this shots in, but GB will get A first. Getting the van is spotted. But Poppy, now is the time to shine. Now is the time to show the world. Not the world in RM, but the viewers, how this position is going to work. I love this. Look at how GB gets spotted in a lots of different angles. The kind of the bomb on the right side of Poppy is going to provide some cover. So RM will have a lot of information here, and we could say RN, they have to figure out how to rotate, but with Poppy in that position, this will give RN a lot of information to work with. At the same time, where will RN push? How will GB defend? It could descend into anarchy very quickly, but there is still a lot of time. RN can make use of the 3 minutes they have to whittle down the hit points of GB, and Poppy is still very important. I think he won't want to shoot any shell, because if he does, then we don't know about the camel rating of Poppy if he does after shooting, and whether he will be spotted. So Poppy needs to practice restraint here. He doesn't want to reveal himself. He doesn't want to spoil the surprise. At the same time, RN's trying their hand on B. Tokyo still spotted. Get in the van still spotted. RN still a lot of time. They can still figure out what to do. They can still be in that position to find a way to whittle down hit points of GB. GB not exactly making it easy for RN. But I think what RN is trying to do, they're trying to rotate from behind. They are potentially seeing a weakness near A. Is this where they want to rush? Bchuan is getting more aggressive. GB is fortifying their spawn, but RN exactly knows that GB is doing that. Probably, I'm not sure if they exactly know, but they probably know. So what RN's doing now, they're lining up for a push onto A, and Tokyo is spotted. GB all looking the other way, all expecting a push coming from GB spawn, but it's not going to be the case. Ploy Kickshot has been spotted. Ploy Kickshot has been spotted rotating. Now Lancelot is an isolated tank, and GB could potentially rush Lancelot. They have the cap points though. I think they are trying to approach this carefully. Professor and also the P-word has to be absolutely careful now. Poppy in that T100 LT will be able... Oh no, he's going to drop down. He has done his job. Now GB is going to push onto Lancelot here. Great call. Who is going to get the tanks out first? GB is pulling back immediately. But if they are able to get a kill, that will increase their cap points for more. But they need to put their shots onto Lancelot. They are bouncing shots at the moment here. But RM, they also need to get a tanks out. They're trying to get B. This is going to be really helpful. But they need kills. They need the hit points. So far, GB is leading. A is being decapped by Trash at the moment. If GB isn't able to get the caps out, they are going to be in deep trouble. Now B has been captured. Professor is trying to get the world out of the way. Great shot there, and he's going straight onto Wadu. Now RN has taken out the P word, and Tokyo is going to be in deep trouble. But with the world being taken out, GB is starting to come through. Wadu is being shot at. ADPRST still at the very far back, but RN, they have a cap stop. Tokyo is going to be killed here. It will be the case. They are very close in winning this one, but Wadu is now down to a one-shot, with C still being captured by Professor. If Rome dies now... Oh, Rome dies first! RM wins by caps. Oh my lord. It was going so well for GV there. They don't deserve to lose 0-4, obviously. Those matches were all very close. It wasn't GV doing a bad job this time. Once again, just like the first match, it could have gone either way. Had Rome not died there in the middle, had our GV the GV been able to kill Lancelot more quickly. I mean, Lancelot did more than 2k alone there. It was definitely a bit slow for GV side. GV, good ideas. I think not the night for them so far, with the bounces here and there. The middle two matches of GV, on the first match on Alpenstadt, Professor had he been rotating had he rotated with the team, maybe that could have also been a totally different story. Mind Ruins, the P word being pretty much out of the fight. There is nothing much you could do about it. I think this is the first time we're seeing a 4-0 victory for my stream on the APAC server, and RN, crucial win here. This is going to put themselves in a good position in the top 4 fight. I think them losing the first 3 rounds, and now they've won 4 in a row. 5 in a row, actually. 5 in a row. This is going to be crucial, and going to take a look at the results of other games. Let me go for the professional tournament first. Hi, Country, how are you doing? Hi, Alpha. We have it. Wargaming's official website doesn't show the leaderboard, so I have to remind you. The leaderboard you're seeing will be the combined leaderboard between the first and second stage. So take a look on my server, and you will get the information you need. We are the first game. We are the first game finished. And how about Challengers Tournament and Lower Echelon Championship? They are all playing best of 7 tonight. Challengers Tournament games are still happening, and we are also seeing here Lower Echelon Championship. PYT still playing against RSOC. Oh, I didn't see that, West. I completely missed that.
Walking around in the circle of life, doing things I know
Right. Okay, let's analyze the match here. Let's go for our first match. I think we are able to analyze another game. So we will also analyze we'll analyze all the matches of Alpenstadt then. These games are going to be good. And I don't need to add here. Make sure you like the stream. If you haven't already, it will be highly appreciated if you do so. So let me just go in and get the first match of Alpenstadt underway. Alright. While we wait for the results. Okay, there we go. Bring on the analysis. Okay, let's analyze this match where R8 won. A no watcher is right about this now. Professor, in the T100 LT will be spotting tanks looking at C, but R8's going to send pretty much everyone there, so Professor has to be really careful. Oh, he's going to turn away. Good idea there. He isn't spotted though, but he knocks down the brick wall. But R8 isn't able to. So once again, the RN with the Type 71 was able to get in C more quickly than GB with also the Type 71 going into A. They only have one light tank, and that one light tank is tasked to get a spot C. Do I think it's a better idea to send the 200 LT to capture A first? There is like a give and take here, because if you send that 200 LT on A, you might get the cap lead, but you won't know what where the tanks of RN are going potentially. You don't know how many tanks there are on C. So with at least the 200 LT of Professor going to C to get spots up, he knows that he knows with the information for giving the information to GB that RN at least will send 2 tanks there, potentially with no tank spot on A so far. They would know that RN would have pretty much most of their forces near C, and they would take a note in this for this information and not be too aggressive. Although they will lose the cap lead, they are very experienced with cap disadvantage situations, so it's not something that is completely novel to them. They know how to do this, so they just have to do the usual stuff and find a way to break down RN's forces and get caps later. See that probably because they don't have tanks that are looking at that area in particular. We are now going to be seeing GB putting tanks onto A with Tokyo being spotted here. Oh, that's an important reset here. Important reset from IM Brett tank in the 215B. I think he's taken, yeah, you can see, I think, quite close to the spawn. So, great start for RN. They just need to defend. Not much they can do now. And A will be captured then. RN, again, the north spawn advantage with the caps. This is a good example of that. RN will get C, and GB will have to figure out a way to rotate. We are seeing the P word. Spotted. The world spotted. Oh, the world. You don't want to show your back. No, your side armor, your back side armor to GB like that. That is kind of free real estate for them. So I think what the world is trying to do here is trying to prevent getting shot from the front. But you have to be mindful of this, especially when RN don't have tanks that are aggressive near A. So big chances that RN will get shot. I mean, the world will get shot from the right instead of the front eventually, but we will see. The mouse needs to be careful here. The side armor could be shown to the P word, but it's a bounce sadly. The professor is going to come in, put a good shot to the world. The world needs to stay safe. Takes a hit, but Tokyo also takes... Okay, now you'll see the overview. Okay, what's GB is doing, they have 3 tanks near the spawn. 2 tanks, as you saw earlier, Professor and also the P word of Berlin. And there is 1 tank of 60 TP. Potentially actually 4 tanks actually rotating back to the spawn. And at the moment, what I think GB has with the information, they know at least there is a tank resetting A, there are tanks, there is a tank of B, they spotted a double Type 71 near C at the start, so with this information in mind, it's going to be difficult for them to push it. I think they have to do it the hard way, but I would be very cautious about the crossfire from here. So this is going to be tricky. What I might do in this situation, with this information, they still have time. They can still stay where they are and get a little bit more information. They don't need to make the rotation immediately, because once again, I tell you, 5 cap points per 2 seconds of increase. They still have 400 more cap points to go. Divide that by 5, 80 cap points, 80 times 2 seconds, 160 seconds. So we are really talking about 3 minutes to go. And GB can absolutely do a lot of stuff within these 3 minutes, but in this situation, I would have called to push down there. Ignore the mouse, don't go for a mouse. I mean, GB loves to do that. Try to deal with these tanks first. Because exactly RM will not have crossfire when GB tries to push to C. So this is potentially what I would do. Potentially. Banking on the information I have so far here. So let's continue to see what both teams are going to do. And I mean this also makes sense because there is like Berlin, that is also Berlin can go in to take a tank there. I mean there are like 7 tanks in total, 2 that are probably isolated for RN's side. Berlin can go in to brawl with one of the tanks there, meanwhile the tanks from below can push. Professor can stay here and farm from above. A lot of shots. That is potentially worthwhile and not taking a lot of hits. So that's potentially what I would do here if I were GV. If they need to rotate here. Also takes a hit. So the hit points are neck and neck. There is still loads to play for, and we are seeing Rome holding near B nicely. But now the situation has changed. So RN, in that situation, GB can push down there, but no, they have now 5 tanks there. So this is why sometimes you need to stay where you are for a little while. First of all, whittle down hit points. Second of all, see if you could spot something changing for RN's defensive line, because before I said GB can push down the river, now I retract that. I don't think it's a good idea. They will have 5 tanks, it's going to be a hard push. Now, suddenly, the tanks near GB spawn will have the advantage. They can push onto C. Although GB doesn't know this, so they're going to make a gamble, I would say, if they're going to push from their spawn. Although it appears that this move will work, as we are seeing right now, it probably doesn't work. And I think RN knows this. RN knows that they could push, GB could push through their spawn, and their tank stats are going to be a little bit isolated. So well done to RN. RN, that's a great move. They haven't been spotted a lot, so it's pretty much a guessing game for both teams, and see what they're going to do. And we are also seeing Trash and Poppy overlooking the spawn of GB. Okay, now Professor has spotted tanks of RN relocating. And this is going to give information now because they are seeing Lancelot back. Lancelot was originally spotted near C. With Lancelot spotted going back to the spawn, Professor now knows that there is something up. So I think the P word now. I'm not sure who the caller is. Maybe the P word is the caller or Berlin's the caller. But now is the time to push to C. Although they have to be really careful because they are so far. They so far have 3 tanks near A still, so they have to kind of time it a little bit better. And there is still time to rotate, so they don't have to do the moves immediately. Professor can still stay there and get information, but the 2 tanks there could wait. They just have to wait for ADPRST to come back. Rome can still stay there to brawl the mouse, and there is also another tank. He will have to come in, and they have to make the push. They have to organize this push a little. They need to get the timing right here. And RN rotating back to their spawn. Are they lining up for a push? They don't have to do the push, but if they think that GB is isolated. I think this is the problem here. Bishran is spotted. RN can push now, but APRSD still rotating, so there is also a tank that is leading the rotation. I mean, there are like 4 tanks in positions that are like quite separated and so quite far apart. So this push could go very, very wrong if they aren't together. So I have to be really careful now. As for the Professor, I think now is the time to run away. Because now Beastron is spotted, I think they will expect a push coming in from RN. Although they have a cap lead, but you know RN playstyle here, they won't sit back when they have cap lead. This is not something I see them doing often. They are not like that. And I think GB knows this, so if I were Professor, I would just go away and support the push coming to C. The P word will have the reactive armor, will try to buy as much time as he could. Try to put the pull back potentially to go back in better positions that are still a distance away for the P word to retreat and spread out. It's a good opportunity for them to do so. But if they make this gamble is going to work. Meanwhile, I mean, look at the push from GB here, getting the van so far forward. Bishran is still not there. ADPRST is still behind, so they have to stop. They have to stop for now. Rome can still stay where they are, and maybe getting the van can potentially put shots potentially from this position. Just they have to wait for a little longer. On the other hand, GB is rotating back to their spawn, getting the vans, trying to advance towards C, but they're so this is a problem here because RN they are ready for the push or coming to C. And they haven't pushed yet, so the P word can now still run away with relative impunity. If I were to get in the van and say the team's still struggling to come in, I'll just take this bush here. You won't probably get shot by iron, but you potentially create problems to the world. And then what he could do is just go down and go A. Tokyo could go in first. He can gamble on getting a few bounces in that Type 71. I mean, especially when there's a Sheridan right there, which means the frontal armor of Type 71, there is a good chance he could bounce something. We'll continue to watch what's going to happen next. Their push is not quite organized at the moment, and we're seeing a push coming in from Aaron. Great call here. The P word is in deep trouble, and the P word will be ushering the rest of the team to start pushing on to say it's all about shot efficiency. Can the P word survive for long enough? The P word is now running away. Is trying to buy as much time as possible for GB. The Professor is also trying to run away at the same time. There we go. There is a brawl coming here. Sheridan. There is only one Sheridan. Suddenly runs away. and I like the idea here because this means the Sheridan is joining the push, which is something that I think Professor was struggling in the later. You will see what's going on there. But let's continue to watch. We're saying now GB has approached to a trash. They need to take out trash as soon as they could. But if trash is able to get the van out of the way, that is going to be a really good news for them. But GB, they're struggling. The P word And I like what GB is doing, rotating Rome to go with the push. Swapping ADPRST, who is trailing behind in the rotation. I like what they're thinking here. But that will pretty much hasten the rotation and increase the efficiency. So I like the idea of GB here. At the same time, RM will get A, and then GB has to hurry up to get C and potentially try to get B as well, but it's going to be really hard. They still don't have the hit point pool lead, cap lead, but if they were able to take a tank out, they could bank on capturing C, although RM will get A more quickly and hope that RM won't overtake them with caps, and immediately, suddenly, GB can just defend. But then, at the same time, they can't just sit there and defend though. The P word is obviously the pressure point for RN. RN could just immediately push and take out that tank quickly. So still, GB might still have to continue pushing and get more tanks out, so that they could still have to hit cap points. It struggled to stay alive, and A will be captured by RN, and GB will be under a bigger cap disadvantage. Tokyo is now trying to capture C, and GB is struggling a little bit on the C side. Now B is also attempting. Oh, I like what RN is doing. They're trying to get B. I think ADPRST, good idea to swap with Rome with what with the row, but should have stayed there. Try to reset these two tanks here. RN, if they were able to get B, RN will have a much better time, much more comfortable situation. And you don't want to give RN this situation here. ADPRST should have stayed here to reset B. Although he might take some shots, but then don't worry. Rome and Bishra will come and support ADPRST if the ADPRST is getting pushed at. So this is what I think that should have happened there. Tempted by RN, and the P word is now very low here. He's going to be taken out by Ploy Kickshaw. Maybe he will get 0 damage, sadly. C is going to be captured by GB, but they took some time in taking out Trash. Trash has been instrumental in this fight. And this is a problem here. The P word is going to die, and Professor is still helping the P word, which is really weird, because you have two full hit points, two tanks of full hit points. The P word is a lost cause, sadly. The Professor at that situation. I mean, look at where he was here on the minimap. He was there. He could just go in and support the team and try to take out quickly increase the efficiency near C, but then suddenly he just, as you can see, the route he is taking. Just look at the lower left, bottom left hand corner. He just goes back. He just goes back suddenly. Very weird call. I don't think that is necessarily the best call for me. Just go support. I think really to also try to create problems for Wadu. And maybe ADPRST now can also support Professor in taking out Wadu. I think this would have made it a lot closer. P word, you can't really do a 2 versus 2 fight, and very quickly will descend into a 1 versus 1 fight. So there's not much you could do about that. Time in taking out Trash. Trash has been instrumental in this fight, and we're seeing Kickshot bounces onto the P word. I'm not sure what Professor's trying to do here. A miss onto Lancelot, and we are now seeing GB coming in. They're looking to get Wado off the way. Yeah, look at how much longer it takes for GB to get to Wado, and Wado will be able to put some shots already. But either way, it's a good idea to get Wado out. But for GB, they will have a really hard time now. P-Word will die. Professor will go down. Biswan's also low. Tokyo not very good here. RN looks very strong now. Although they lost Trash, but they will be able to get potentially 2 to 3 tanks out in quick succession, and that will give them some really healthy cap lead. They have 2 caps, so they just have to start killing out tanks that are isolated and they should be able to win this one quite easily. Lots of isolated tanks of both GB and RN. Professor's in deep trouble, getting shut down by both Harpy and also Lancelot. It's a good shot onto Lancelot, but Professor needs to get a shell in. It won't be the case. Professor gets taken out. P-Word also gets taken out. ADPRST is trying to get Lancelot out of the way. Now ADPRST is on the drum reload. It's going to be really close in the end, but RN still has 2 caps, and they have a good hit-point pool advantage. Rome is trying to brawl against... Okay, I then like what GB's trying to do. Bistran and Rome can tee up to try to get Bretta and Tokyo as well. And there is the ADPRST there trying to survive as long as he could, buy time, and try to get tanks out using the clip. And Brett tank with GB, no light tanks. They aren't going to get the cap points back. Lancelot is dead. There is an outside chance for GB to win. They just need to get the tanks out. Iron Brett is now down to a 1-shot here. But ADPRST, can he survive for long enough? The 5 tanks of GB are all 1-shots pretty. Yes, I also like what ADPRST is doing, going backwards to try to get cap B. But they don't have Professor Clef in this situation. If he survives and go and take out Wadu, could have immediately go to A and take that cap back, and suddenly RN would be fighting on an uphill battle. So this is why why the light tank is so important in taking out the caps. I mean, look at CS being captured. Not sure if it was captured by the Sheridan, but if it's the case, and it goes on to it's not getting captured though. I'm sorry, I was wrong about that. But then Sheridan can go for C as well. But you can see it could have been a lot closer. RN, they just have to survive and kill out the low hit point targets. GB has done a really good job with the hit point push there with the push onto the RN spawn, but I don't think it will be enough in the end. Pretty much. Get in the van instead. Iron Brett instead. ADPRST has fully reloaded now. He needs to put a shot here, but no, it's not going to happen. Tokyo needs to get a shell in, but it's too late. Yep. So I think what went wrong for GB, there are two situations that went horribly wrong for GB. First, APRST was originally swapping with Rome in what Rome was doing there to stop B from being captured, but he didn't really understand what Rome was trying to do in that position at throughout the first half of the game. That allowed RN to get hold of B quite easily. I mean, although GB knows this and they have tanks trying to reset B, but RN exactly what they're doing now, doing at that moment is showing their frontal armor with the mouse and also some other tanks. So it was very, very difficult for GB to reset B. Had ADPRST been there, he would have seen the side armor of the tanks capturing B. The second issue here, where it has gone very south for GB was Professor trying to support the P-word or Berlin. He was at that point trying to support the push coming on to C. Had he done that, he would have taken Wadu and potentially got back A. In that situation, RN would not have a substantial cap lead, and it would have gone really, really close. So it was pretty much these kind of mistakes that you don't want to make, and RN really capitalized on that, and hopefully that will help you figure out kind of. I mean, these two clans are really good clans. They have played the start really well. They're trying to think what the other team is doing and try to put their tanks in a situation that they can convey the information to themselves. It was pretty much the mid to late game phases where things start to get a little bit messy, and it's hard to manage the entire team. And I think this is what we're seeing. This is why RN is winning, because they are able to manage the team when everything gets a bit messy. And yeah, hopefully this kind of long analysis is going to help you understand what was going on in this match. And I think we have more results coming. It was a long time talking and analyzing. So let's begin with the lower bracket with the lower echelon championship. And we have RISQ winning PYT 4-2, and they are through to the grand final. Well done to RISQ. I think with this performance here, there's a good chance that they could win all the way. Now, the lower echelon championship, no one's going to stream that, sadly, but I will be happy for the players there to send me replays, so I could commentate them during the break. And we have next we have the challenges tournament. What are the results? We have Brown. Ooh, Asad is picking up momentum now. Barely lost to Brown 3-4. I wish all the best to AZ. I think they can have this. I think they are getting better and better. I'm not sure if they listened to me saying that they just need to improve their individual skills. If they did that, I think this is the improvement we are seeing, and I'm going to be really happy about that. And I really wish them well, because they are definitely a team to watch. They are unfortunately going to drop down to meet DT in the lower bracket final, whereas the lower echelon championship, PYT will meet UKill in the lower echelon, in the lower bracket final. How about the professional tournament, the results there? And we will have right, we have results. GRS beats Nomad 4-3. That was really close. Oh, but Nomad won't be able to get their first round win still. But this is promising. Ooh, Riri won against P1 4-3. Wow, they're picking up momentum now. They're getting better. Meanwhile, our RISQ won ID 4-2. Suddenly, the top 4 fight has become a little bit spicy. Now, the top 4 currently will be IDR and RISQ and P1, but then we also have GB, GRS, and Riri in the 5th, 6th, and 7th position. They are very close and overtaking any clan in the top 4 right now. Nomad, unfortunately, they have to win 6 rounds in order to overtake the top 6 clans here, and there are exactly 6 more rounds to go. So for now, they have to win all their remaining rounds in order to qualify. Otherwise, they are out of top 4 contention. Congratulations to the following teams, and I will now get Mapbox to predict the next few matches. Currently, yes, GB is out of top 4, but not well. There are still lots of rounds to go. GB can get back to top 4 if they win their next few rounds. Let me get their predictions here. So things will be updated. Okay, so GB is predicted to make a big comeback here, winning Nomad 4-0 as for RN. Against Riri, predicted to go in favor of RN 4-1, but we saw that they have overcome P1, so that could very much change here. GRS predicted to barely lose against ID 3-4. This is going to be a match to watch, and that will be streamed by Sian Kun. Meanwhile, P1 against RISQ. Predicted to go in favor of RISQ. 4-2. Alright. How about the challenges here? SZ and DT predicted to go in favor of SZ 4-3. Oh, this is a tiebreaker. PYT against UKIll. Predicted to go in favor of UKIll 4-2. Alright, I will update that now. With Madbox going to be important in this. And at RM Riri. Alright. I think the room should be up very soon, and I will have to upload the results to my server first. And bear with me for a moment. And here we are. Alright, so I think I have the room now. I'm going to go in. I will have time to bring you the trailers P1 versus RISQ, but I will ask you on the I'll give you a post. Which team will win, P1 or RISQ? Okay. Let me just. Okay, let me go through this first. Trailers. P1. And now we have RISQ. Right, so we have only around 30 seconds left to go. So very quickly, Madbox has made their following predictions. Our game, RISQ versus P1 is predicted to end in favor of RISQ 4-2, and the odds, if there are some people predicting right now, they might think P1. I don't know. I think it could have got. It could go either way. It could get really close. As for the challengers, Cinnamon SZ, can they knock out DT, and can PYT bring another upset to UKill? I think we'll go back in quickly to the room now. We're now going into Moerdijk with P1 versus RISQ. 60 mid. Who is 60? Okay, we have P1 going for double crown, 1T100 LT, and quadruple type 71s. RISQ, on the other hand, blue team. From the north side, we will see 60 TB T95 E6 and quintuple type 71s, and we will see RISQ with F Silver in the type 71 leading in charge. I like that attachment, the small helicopter. Or is this a drone? I think it's a drone. We can see the Galera puts a great shot onto F Silver. And P1 is holding back a little bit. They are not pushing in. They are absorbing the push potentially coming from RISQ. We could see the Galera putting another great shell onto the RISQ tanks, and Smart Potato is in the middle to try to provide some angles, but we can see P1's trying to push down the river, trying to get Smart Potato out of the way. RISQ will see something's going to go awry here, but at the same time, if they go push forward, they might get shot by the incoming crossfire. So what they're doing right now, they're trying to push onto Pixel Rage and also STD, but at the same time, Smart Potato needs support. Sugar is trying to get shots onto Photograph, and where is going to go and take out. He has to figure out which tank to go for first. RISQ focus fire needs to be on point. Smart Potato is now dead. ST is dead, and Juicy's coming here to put shots onto Photograph. It's a bounce, sadly. RISQ struggling with the focus fire at the moment here, and the P1 with better focus fire at this point. Pixels and also Galera is going to put shots onto where, and where is down by fire. Photograph instead. AFK has been shut down. It's now 4 versus 5. The numerical advantage of RISQ could be get in favor of RISQ here. They have to make use of this. Juicy gets Pixel Rage now. It's now 3 versus 5. RISQ, for some reason, they are now making a big comeback here. And it's really good to see. P1, I think their focus fire has tailed off. Sadly, RISQ, certainly they are trying to share the hit points nicely. Pixel is now dead. The turret flying away. RISQ now getting this one. I'm very sure RISQ will get hold of this one, despite a lukewarm start with their pushes and focus fire. But they got everything together in the end, and that is what matters the most. Well done to RISQ. It was a really close game. P1, it could have gone either way. To be honest with you, I can't really see a major issue from what P1 is doing. It looks like there are like 5 tanks still alive for RISQ, but it was a really close game in the end. It was all down to shot efficiency and those tiny bit of focus fire. Well done to RISQ. And P1 will not win the first one. F Silver only splash the Galera. And RISQ has it. 1-0 to RISQ. Well done to RISQ. We are seeing 5 tanks doing more than 2k here. As for P1, only 4 tanks to win more than 2k. We're now on to Molten Diaper. Where is in trouble. Oh, where needs to be substituted. His game probably crashed. And I think RISQ doesn't want to risk where. So he's been substituted out, and we could see 2 changes actually. I think Holland is the first time to play here, and also Bok and Coles, which is also known as Spartan or Sparties. Forgot who Erling Haaland was previously. I need some refresher on that. P1 on the other hand will be taking out Pixels and will put nitroglycerin in. They will be taking quadruple Type 71s, 1 Kramwagen, 1 T100 LT, and a 215B. But ST is playing with this. You don't want to play with going back to Q and going back to the team. You don't want to suddenly be in a 6 versus 7 situation. Although it's not best of 3, so this kind of move won't hurt a lot, but still you don't want to lose the momentum. You don't want to give the momentum to RISQ either. P1, what would they do this time? Their focus fire was on point at the start, but it starts to tail off in the end. They want to maintain their focus fire throughout, and RISQ, they didn't give up. Their focus fire didn't start well, but their focus fire was on point in the end. So this kind of switch with RISQ, I mean this switch is important because you want to win your late games. Late games are so important that the early part, the first half of the match, although so very critical, but not as vital as late games. And it's all about this. Sometimes you have to get your late game sorted, but then the early games as well. Not like you should do very poorly in the early stage. You still have to do well, but you want to maintain that early lead here. The Galera going to put a good shot onto Bifrost. They can save RISQ once again, doing the same thing as before. The Galera immediately dropping into B. This is a huge call from P1. Can they get... Oh, a shot coming in from F Silver. Great shot there. RISQ will get the cap lead on A, but at the same time, P1 will get C. The Galera can't get B, sadly. Oh, they found Smoked Potato isolated there. Oh my lord, that was an APAC onto the Galera. Game on! Oh my lord. I'm so sorry. The Galera, can we put Fs in the chat here? I'm so sorry. You don't deserve to be APAC like that. Smoked Potato. Only if Smoked Potato gets APAC, then I will be laughing my my cheeks out. But I hope that doesn't happen. I don't want to wish an APAC on anyone here. But we're going back to say Photograph and ST putting shots onto Smurt. Smurt will be down, and suddenly we're going to be seeing a 6 vs 6 here. But at the same time, Pixel Rage is isolated. And RISQ, can they maintain their focus fire? It's all about that right now. And F Silver and Juicy needs to be patient, because they don't have the numerical advantage over B. They have to wait until Pixel Rage gets taken out, and they will have the numerical advantage back. They don't want to lose unnecessary hit points here. Sugar and Mugu, great idea to run away. Nitroglycerin not moving in just yet. All RISQ needs to do is to stay safe and whittle down hit points of P1. P1, they have to find a way to push, but it's going to be really hard. Now RISQ is going to put a great defensive line, and P1 won't be able to do much. RISQ has a lot of hit point pool advantage. Juicy needs to pull back. He doesn't have lots of hit points now. Photograph now is going to push on to F Silver. To focus on F Silver here. And Milkshake is looking for Juicy instead. But I would say just go with F Silver first. Great hash onto F Silver. F Silver is down. RISQ, on the other hand, they have taken out another tank here. It's a 3 versus 5. Juicy's not going to last for long. This push from P1 materializes and it has done some good stuff. Is it going to be enough for P1 to make a comeback? I doubt it's the case. ST, great shot onto P Frost, and we have XAFK being killed by Holland. ST is looking for B Frost, but I think it's all over for P1. Great job to RISQ. Unfortunate to see an Emmerach for the T100 LT. Milkshake is down. ST is a goodbye omen to him. RISQ will now lead 2-0. Well done to RISQ. Hi everyone, hi Jenny, hi Abby, hi multiplayer card player. What is this username? What's a game for RISQ? This is a dominant performance here. They pretty much dominated from start to finish. P1, I think the problem is their backside. Their backside is very disjointed. They made a good call to push Smurd, but if they tidy up their back, RISQ will have a much harder time in taking out tanks of P1. Despite losing Le Galera so early in the match, even if they kill Smurd, it's just 6 vs 6. They will be back on level pegging, and yeah, it's all down to this. Teams don't want to leave their back open like that and just organized like that. And this is sometimes a huge mistake, a common mistake for the top teams. They polish their front nicely, but their backside is scrap metal. I mean, the recycling centers want scrap metal, but RISQ is not a RISQ. Well, you don't want to say RISQ is a recycling center company, but but P1 doesn't want to give that to RISQ. It's not. I mean, it's going to be giving season, but they don't want to give tanks. They can give presents to RISQ, but the presents can't be tanks. You don't have to. You don't want that to happen. And we'll go back to Winter Mind After. This time we'll see P1 double Crown Bargains, double Type 71s, and we will also see double IS4 and a Sheridan with RISQ now leading 2-0. Double T100 LT, double Type 71, double IS4, and a 60 TP. Let's go up high here. Le Galera in the Sheridan. Will he do what the EU team did and go up here and knock down the tree? Yes, he does, but he gets spotted. Suramugu preemptively. This is how you spot up the tank going up the tree, the slope like that. Well done to Shukamugu now. Le Galera will be smacking the PC because of this, and poor old PC. I hope the PC won't be dead after the rage. But P1 at the moment here, they won't have a cap lead because RISQ will get A. And we will be... Oh, I'm not sure about this move here. XAFK. P1, it's a make or break move. They will get cap lead. They also get C at the same time. But RISQ, are they in position to stop XAFK from running out? I mean, from getting out of B. And look at XAFK struggling immensely in B. And this is why I said it's not a good idea to go B on Winter Mayanovka. You will get reset. Plus, how are you going to get out of this? P1 will get the cap. Will get a cap on B, but look at XAFK now, half the hit points. P1 will have to hope that RISQ just messes up completely in their push or something like that. All RISQ needs to do is make good push, and P1 they have to support XAFK. They will get a cap lead back, but the hit points are quite close. But P1 is also bleeding, so this is not looking really nicely for P1. Smart Potato is getting absolutely shot at. RISQ might be in trouble. The Golera needs to put a shot in. It will be the case. At the same time, we're seeing RISQ now pushing in the middle. But XAFK has support. I think P1 might have this one. P1 needs to get a focus fire in. Smart Potato is now dead. We also see F Silver dead. B4 is good to go down. P1 is getting together nicely. RISQ, I think their push is quite disorganized. They have lost 3 tanks now. XAFK is dead. Pixel Rage is dead. It's a 5 versus 4. This has descended into Dog's dinner. Holland is dead, but this is surely going to P1 there. B, XAFK, I was so worried about him at the moment, but P1 came prepared. And they know that B is a risky move, but they made the risk worthwhile. RISQ, they didn't get a good push in the end, and this hurt them a lot. And P1, they don't want to mess up now. They will kill where, but ST will put a good shot onto Sugar and Mugu, and Juicy is the last tank standing. Well done to RISQ. I mean P1. Well done to P1. And this is it. This is all over. P1 gets ahead. Well done to P1. I saw Poisson chat. I don't know what it was saying exactly, but look at this. P1 4 tanks doing more than 2k. RISQ only 1 tank doing more than 2k. Sadly, the push wasn't materializing nicely enough. We will be seeing some changes here. The next match on Winter Marinovka, P1 gets 1 back, and RISQ, they have a good advantage. Although P1 gets the cat lead, but they aren't really able to consolidate the push, and I think that was a big issue here. P1 this time, we are going to be seeing changes, potentially seeing quadruple Type 71s, double IS4 and the Kramwagen. RISQ, on the other hand, double IS4, T110E5, a T100 LT, and double Type 71 and a 60 TP nitroglycerin, changing into a VK 90.01p milkshake in the 60 TP. Hi Pookie. And please remember to like the stream if you haven't already, and let's get more people watching here, because both teams deserve to receive attention. Now P1 has finalized their lineup. I think this is the first time in how many matches we see an IS7, or maybe not. Postgrad might be checking it out with the IS7. No, he's going to go for the IS7, or he's not going for IS7. He is going for IS7, and it's quintuple Type 71. He is not going for IS7. He's going for IS7. A 60 and a VK 90.01p, and Postgrad will surely go for an IS7. Back on Winter Marinovka. Let's get up high and see where both teams go. P1 red team from the south spawn, with RISQ blue team from the north spawn. Photograph is definitely in their 97. We'll try to spot tanks, but at the same time, this F Silver and this bush will get ST spotted, and Photograph Silver himself is also spotted. Can he run away with impunity though? ST might like, whoa, double tap onto Silver. F Silver has taken some beating. He still survives though, but his efficiency will be reduced once again. Holland dropping to be a move that I don't like, but RISQ seems to have cover from Holland, so maybe he could be able to get off B or just stay there and hope that RISQ will push the line forward. And once again, it's going to be P1 that needs to make a rotation, not RISQ. Nitroglycerin is in the BK there. And P1, they want to get a good push, unlike the rest of what they did last time. They're going to find Smart Potato in some sort of trouble. He is isolated here. P1, if they want to make a push, they want to do it now. ST will go in, but at the same time, Nitroglycerin is getting pushed by RISQ. It's a good move from RISQ. RISQ, they need to take out Nitroglycerin quickly because P1 will find both Smart Potato and Shugenmuku isolated, and it's all down to the shot efficiency. But RISQ has the advantage with the caps. Great shot from Milkshake onto Holland. Nitroglycerin will be taken out. Milkshake will pull out, and try to conserve hit points. But Hixel Rage also is not having a lot of hit points. He could get absolutely wrecked. But P1, this push is looking quite nicely. F Silver farming at the back, but what P1 needs to get is caps. They only have one cap at the moment compared to RISQ with two, but RISQ push has stopped. They're trying to go back and try to take care of the Galera. The Galera not in the light time this time. Oh, am I wrong about this? Where is going to take some hits. ST, I mean, look at F Silver farming from this position. But we will go back in. The hit points are still in favor of RISQ. RISQ could still have this though. It's not over yet for P1. P1 with good hit point push sharing, but they are struggling with hit points. They have to cap back. They need to get a tank out. The Galera needs to stay safe. He will get taken out by F Silver. F Silver creating all sorts of troubles, and he will now come in to that with RISQ on Potogrub. But it's a bounce from Juicy, and Bifrost needs to put shells onto Potogrub. And Bifrost will put a great shell to Potogrub. Potogrub on fire for a brief moment. He manages to find the button just in time. And Potogrub will put a great shell to Juicy. This is surely going to P1 now. RISQ, despite the hit point advantage, they are losing a lot of tanks. The tank advantage is not on their side. And P1 will win this by caps, bringing this to a 2-2 here. RISQ original advantage has been deleted. RISQ, they have 4 tanks doing more than 2k, and P1 4 tanks doing more than 2k. Great call for RISQ to push onto the isolated tanks of Nitroglycerin, and they have taken out a couple of tanks as well, but they stopped. They stopped in the pushing. They hesitated for a moment here. F Silver was very crucial at the back, farming for days. Had RISQ actually made a bigger call in the end, and maybe they should have rotated kind of back. They don't have to go down to take tanks there because they will lose the high ground. If they made that decision immediately and take out tanks that are trying to push RISQ on B, then maybe RISQ could win this. But look at P1. Look at how they push. They find the isolated tanks. They take them out quickly, and even if they are having some, I mean, even if they find difficulties in getting the tanks of RISQ out because RISQ pretty much are close with one another, they have the hit list sorted, and this is what's important for them. Although F7, the T100 LT, is causing all sorts of problems from the backside, and rotated in also just in time, he wasn't able to save RISQ from the defeat against P1. Now 2-2. At the moment, the table. At the moment here, RISQ and P1 are tied with the same number of round wins. If either one of them win, then they will be in the top 4 tonight at the very least. ID will be at least in the top 4, but they have to be really careful here. The top 4 fight is on, and it can still go either way. I think this is one of the tightest top 4 fights we've seen on the APAC server. We are seeing changes on both P1 and RISQ. This time, Potograph will not take an IS4. He will take an will not take an IS7. Will take an IS4 instead. P1 now, the Galera in T100 LT will get spots for RISQ, and at the same time, F Silver spots up Pixel Rage, but the Guerrero will immediately drop onto way. F Silver says goodbye to P1. I'm not rolling with you. I'm not sacrificing myself. This is not a church service. You don't want to donate something here. You don't want to donate a tank. So we're seeing RISQ going to capture a C. They will get some cap points. And they will be just only one tank away from flipping. But the pressure point would be on Smart Potato and Juicy. These two tanks are isolated and P1 could rush them and take them very quickly, and RISQ is spreading out. This is a problem. RISQ is spreading out, and if they aren't able to consolidate their forces when P1 makes a push, they will lose. And can RISQ consolidate quickly enough? And now P1 has figured out that there are tanks that are quite isolated, so this is some good information, but they don't have to do much. They have around 3 minutes to down the hit points of RISQ, so they don't have to make a push now, and I would go against this because they have to go a really long way to push RISQ, and really not worthwhile to do that, and they could just bleed RISQ for days. They are doing a good job in doing in this situation. Now they just have to wait for RISQ to rotate, and if they can continue to conserve the hit points and bleed RISQ, they just have to welcome RISQ and hope that RISQ is not going to be able to figure out how to shut down tanks of P1. There we go. P1. We have the Galera spotting up some tanks potentially. Has to be really careful here with the move he is doing. He doesn't want to get Eberect again. But there we are. P1 leading by more than 3k, but Pixel Rage takes a hit because Smurf Potato puts a shot there. RISQ, will they have Shigemugu trying to cap B, but he's going to ignore B for a moment here. We're talking about 200 more cap points to go. Just only about a minute for RISQ before they absolutely have to make a push, but they've traded a little bit better in the last few seconds, so the deficit has been reduced slightly, but they have to do more than that. Shigemugu gets shots at, and RISQ, they will potentially have around 3k of hit points of deficit, and this is going to get really bad for them. And XAFK receives another hit, gets tracked. P1 is also losing hit points. Oh, ST loses hit points. P1 is not conserving hit points nicely now. Deficit has been greatly reduced to only around 1000. Smart Potato ignoring B. They're trying to go for a kill. They're going for a kill, but this is a derp from Smurt. He couldn't put a shot onto Pixel. Now B Frost has come in. He is looking for Pixel Rage here. Pixel Rage is in deep trouble, but there are a lot of bounces coming from RISQ side. Look at this. Smurt is now dead, and P1 really... Oh, Mishik is absolutely mullered. Bifrost is dead, but XFK is dead. This has gone into Pandemonium. Nitroglycerin is going to push shots onto Shigemugu, but Shigemugu is going to survive. ST is trying to move forward, but Holland is trying to block ST. And ST is trying to put a great shell onto Shugu. Now 2 tanks down for P1, 3 tanks down for RISQ. The Galera in the T100 LT is struggling to survive. And this kill could be very important here, but Juicy gets absolutely shut down by P1's forces. Juicy, will he receive a bounce from ST? And Holland needs to get Pixel Rage after what fight. But Potogrog is going to put a great HE shell from behind. That's a high roll there. Nitroglycerin will get B, but I think it's all over. But like Galera is dead. Pixel Rage needs to stay alive. Potogrub needs to shield Pixel Rage. Holland is looking for Pixel Rage. And I think Holland could kill Pixel Rage here. And it's going really close. That kill just in time. But Holland is dead, bringing P1 the cap win. RISQ almost clutched the win here. Problem is they bled way too much. Way too much. It wasn't enough for them to win against P1. and they bounced too many shells onto smoked potato right there. Or was it smoked potato? No, not smoked potato. Smoked potato bounces actually. Yeah, it was Pixel Rage. Pixel Rage just receives a lot of bounces coming from RISQ, and this I think is also a turning point for P1. P1 just absolutely dominates the match with the hit points, and also Pixel Rage being so good with the IS4 bouncing shots left, right, and center. And I mean, if he didn't bounce those shots, he wouldn't have done more than 4k of damage here. So well done to P1 here. They are now on the match point, and if they win the next one, P1 will be in the top 4 for tonight. As for RISQ, they're going to be changing tanks. P1, they will be taking double crowns, triple type 71s, and double IS4. And there we go, P1, South Spawn, RISQ, North Spawn. Where will they go this time? And we can safely say Photograph is not taking an IS7. Or will he take an IS7? We'll find out now. He won't take an IS7. We'll go back into Rockfield. Let's say P1 on the match point. RISQ has to win the next one. Can they do it? They won the first 2 matches, but they are on the downward spiral right at the moment, and it's not looking good for them if they continue to lose matches. F Silver in the T100 LT will get spots up, get nothing in return. He is giving nothing. Wow. But even if he gives nothing, he gives information for the team, and that's going to be the most important part, because now RISQ will have to defend A, and Pixel Rage going into A. F Silver not going to C for now. He is trying to reset A. Great shots onto Pixel Rage. Himself is not spotted though, so can P1 still get A, or will they struggle? Once again, Pixel Rage is trying to get A again, but behind that, there is also ST, but look at the reset from Pixel Rage. So F Silver is definitely not allowing P1 to get A, but Pixel Rage might be able to get it this time. And another reset shell, Rage drop to F Silver. Pixel Rage will not... Oh! Great shot from F Silver. That was Pixel Rage hesitating whether to go for A or not. Oh my gosh, F Silver is running riot with those shots here. Again, this time because IS4 is lower in profile, he might not be able to get A, but F Silver will get C this time. P1 still has the cap lead though, but they don't have the hit point pool advantage because look at how many tanks got shot at. No, I was wrong. RISQ doesn't have the hit point pool advantage. F Silver, his efforts might be in vain. But we will follow F Silver again. The shots of F Silver are haunting P1 at the moment. He is really doing his best as he could to whittle down hit points of P1. P1 just needs to stay safe. And RISQ's teammates aren't doing a good job. They are letting F Silver down at the moment here, with the hit points they've lost so far. This is going to be a hard game for RISQ to win, because with the amount of hit points they don't have, how are they going to solve this? Oh, we are seeing ST being spotted here. F Silver time to put shots in. No, he couldn't. F Silver is still hoping that P1 will make mistakes, but T1 is going to be having a hard time. Well, it's going to be very difficult for F Silver to put shots in. P1's not giving any chances at all for RISQ. Milkshake and the crowd bargains. And now Silver, is he changing his location to try and put shots onto Milkshake? It's going to be hard. I think F Silver might want to relocate. Now P1 knows F Silver's on C, near C, and P1's trying to make sure they don't lose it, but I think F Silver needs to relocate here. P1 exactly knows what's going on. Photograph doesn't want to go to B. I think P1 knows where F Silver is, so F Silver relocate. I don't think he's going to get any more information in this position. I think they want Pixel Rage after the fight, and F Silver misses a shot onto Pixel Rage. This is going to be hard. I think we need something different from F Silver. Pixel Rage tries to push shots onto F Silver, but it's not successful. Ooh, we could see XAFK being shot at. But RISQ, they are sharing hit points, and F Silver has taken some hits. It's going up nicely for P1. Everything seems to be going in favor of P1. The hit points, the caps. We only have around 100 cap points to go before RISQ absolutely has to make a move. This is just only about 30 more seconds to go. Only half a minute for RISQ. I think RISQ knows they don't have the hit point pool advantage. I think what they might try and achieve is to bring it to re-relays. Find an isolated tank of P1, get that tank out and clutch the win. They know they don't have an advantage with caps and hit points. I think this is what they want to go for. They can try to get B, but they will get absolutely shut down by P1. So RISQ, I think this is what we're going to be seeing in the next few seconds. Sugar Mugu will try to go into B. Right, and I think this is exactly what P1 wants to see. All RISQ needs to do now, they need a kill. All they need is a kill and hope they will survive for long enough. RISQ, P1, Poltergrub is a pressure point. Poltergrub, he needs to be really careful here. Great shots onto the XAFK, but time is running out. RISQ, they're going to make a big push onto A. I think this could be a bad call. They're losing hit points for doing that. Poltergrub is still isolated, but RISQ, they need a tank. P1 is now making a push. They're trying to get tanks out of RISQ. If they are able to do so, then they will be able to bring the advantage even bigger. They don't want to lose Milkshake now. Time is running out for RISQ to get a kill. And P1, they don't want to lose a tank. Milkshake needs to survive. Milkshake is in deep trouble. But Sugar Mugu is now dead. P1 is very close to winning. And Bifrost, if he goes down, P1 will win. P1, they got Bifrost, and RISQ was unable to find that tank to kill. They shouldn't have tried to push onto A. It was a lost cause there. I think it has to come from below B, because it will take time for P1 to relocate, and RISQ, they weren't able to get a win in the end. They weren't able to get a kill. P1, I like how they catch RISQ off guard with a push on A that sealed them the win. Surely it was a bit of a risk, but this is a risk well taken. They have two tanks to more than 2k, and that's going to be enough for them to win 4-2 and put them in the top 4 spot still. We will see the results of all the games here. Oh, let me just end the poll. It's quite even Stevens. And let's let me see if there are results for the second for the 9th round. We have results. GB 4-1 against Nomad. Well done to GB. Nomad although got 1 match win, so that's good. GRS won against ID 4-1. GRS is making a comeback now, and with RISQ losing 2-4, we are waiting for RM versus Riri. With this result tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and anyone in between, RISQ is out of top 4, and we currently have a 4-way tie. Really, if they win the two rounds tonight, and I'm very sure it's going to go to a tiebreaker. We will have a, I really will have a, we'll still have a chance in getting top 4, and I feel really happy for them. They have definitely improved, and I hope they can do well here. They're they're causing all sorts of trouble now, and Norbat hope they will get double digits in the end with the number of match wins, but they are limping at the moment. And we could say like the number of match wins, GRS and P1 have more match wins, but at the moment here, ID and P1 will be in the top 4. As of saying right now, RN and GRS will be in the top 4 because they have more head-to-head victories. Unless RN wins, then things could change completely, and we will see GRS probably still in the top 4. I would say. I'm not sure if those two head-to-head victories come from winning RN, but we'll have to wait. Let's look at the lower echelon and also the Challengers Tournament games. We have SZ winning against DET 4-1. Tomorrow we will follow Brown versus SZ. SZ, well done. You deserve to be in the Challengers Tournament final, and I wish all the best for you. I have high hopes. I have high expectations. I hope you can make an upset here. As for Brown, this is the last chance. They don't want to mess up this game here. Lower Echelon Championship, we have PYT being knocked out by UQ 3-4. UQ are through to the grand final, and they will face RSOC. The last chance for RSOC to perform well. I have my hopes on RSOC here. All the best for these two teams in the grand final, and let me repeat, the grand finalists of the Challengers Tournament and Lower Echelon Championship are currently RSOC versus UQ in the Lower Echelon Championship. That won't be streamed tomorrow, sadly. As for Brown versus SZ, that will be the Challengers Tournament grand finalists. That being out of the way, let's see if we have results for RN versus another team now. I'm not going to analyze a match here, sadly, because I'm very hungry. I need to get something to eat. So, sorry for this. We will have RN getting a really important win against Riri. Great job to Riri here, though. They have made it really close, and they have a chance still. They still have a chance, but this chance is gradually slipping away. At least they will win 20 matches in the professional tournament. Already, the top 7 teams have won more than 20 matches, and this is still anyone's call. The top 4 fight is on. We are now seeing the top 4 currently: ID, P1, RN, and GRS. RISQ out of top 4. GB out of top 4, but they're tied with GRS. Anything can still happen. RISQ and GB could get back to top 4 if they have a good night tomorrow. Really have an outside chance, but I think their fate will be sealed tomorrow if they aren't able to pick up wins. Tomorrow, we will be streaming Riri. Potentially, if Riri loses the next one, it all depends on whether Riri can win against RISQ. Riri, their first match is against GB. The first game is against GB. If they lose against GB, ooh, I think the tomorrow matches are going to define everything. And I have to say, anything can still happen tomorrow. Tomorrow, whichever team wins the next 2 rounds could put themselves in a really good position in the top 4, and it's all about tomorrow now. Tomorrow I will be first following GRS versus P1, and then Riri versus RISQ. So GRS currently in top 4, but with only 5 round wins, so they can easily drop out of top 4 if they lose to P1. If they win against P1, P1 might drop out of the top 4. It's still very close. I can't really. The top 4 fight, one of definitely the tightest I've ever seen since streaming the APAC server. Love that. Thank you very much. This has been me, Wildman's Helper, and oh my lord. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.